In the ancient and holy city of Jerusalem, cradle of the three great Abrahamic religions and witness to a millennia-old history, an unprecedented discovery has shaken the entire world, a discovery that challenges our understanding of sacred history and the fundamental beliefs of Judaism, Christianity and the Islam. Jerusalem, a city revered by millions of believers around the world, has been the scene of numerous archaeological finds that have shed light on its rich past. But nothing could have prepared the world for the significance of this latest discovery that threatens to shake the very foundations of the most deeply held beliefs of humanity. It all began when a team of internationally renowned archaeologists, made up of experts from various universities and museums around the world, embarked on an ambitious expedition that took them to the arid and remote desert lands surrounding Jerusalem. These researchers, driven by an insatiable desire to uncover the buried secrets of the past, devoted entire months to the grueling task of excavating the depths of the earth and swimming for the sun, despite the scorching heat, sudden sandstorms, and the logistical difficulties of working in. In such an inhospitable environment, the team persisted with unwavering determination. Their tenacity finally paid off when, after weeks of tirelessly digging through tons of sand and rock, their tools hit something solid buried beneath the surface in a renewed frenzy of excitement. They redoubled their efforts, carefully removing each layer of sediment until they finally revealed the outlines of what appeared to be a secret chamber, sealed and hidden from human sight for millennia. At that moment, a shiver of anticipation ran through the team as they knew they had found something momentous. Discovery that could forever change our view of the ancient past of this sacred region. With hearts beating at 1,000 per hour, archaeologists entered the sealed chamber, cautiously illuminating their path with flashlights. The air inside was dense and charged, as if undisturbed in thousands of years ago. As they swept the haze of light over the ancient walls, their eyes widened in amazement at the intricate carvings and symbols that adorned every inch of the chamber. But nothing had prepared them for what they would find in the center of the chamber there. On a carved stone pedestal lay an object that made people hold their breath. An ancient rolled scroll carefully wrapped in a stone box, carved with an ornate design. Despite the millennia that had passed, buried under tons of sand, the scroll was in a state of disrepair. Astonishing preservation, as if time had not touched it with trembling hands, the archaeologists delicately removed the scroll from its stone box, fearing that any sudden movement could damage this fragile and priceless treasure. As slowly unrolling the intricate layers of ancient material revealed lines of a language unknown, written with an ink that still retained its dark color after thousands of years. As they examined the manuscript more closely, they were speechless at the mastery of the calligraphy and the delicacy of the craftsmanship. Each letter, each symbol seemed to have been chiseled with care. Almost reverential by expert hands of antiquity, archaeologists immediately understood that they had discovered a treasure of incalculable historical and cultural value, a direct link to a distant past that could forever change our understanding of the history of this sacred region with almost reverential care. The experts began the arduous process of unrolling the ancient manuscript, each movement slow and deliberate, fearing that a careless gesture could damage this fragile treasure that had survived intact through the millennia as the layers of material unfolded, revealing lines of a language. Archaic and unknown, the air in the workroom. It was charged with a palpable tension. The eyes of the scholars were fixed on each character, each strange symbol desperately trying to decipher its secrets. The first translations carried out with the help of the best linguists and language experts. The ancients were slow and arduous, but their preliminary findings made the world hold its breath. According to these early interpretations, the text appeared to contain information that directly contradicted accepted biblical and Quranic accounts of the origins of Judaism, Christianity, and Islam. Entire passages challenged the founding narratives of these three great Abrahamic religions, questioning events, characters, and teachings that had been considered inviolable truths for centuries. As more and more of these apparent contradictions were confirmed, an air of shock came over the team of experts. Some looked on in disbelief, reluctant to accept what their eyes saw, while others experienced an almost feverish excitement at the prospect of a discovery that could completely revolutionize our understanding of sacred history. It was in the midst of this maelstrom of mixed emotions that the scholars made the decision to reveal their preliminary findings to the world they knew. that the implications were too great, too far-reaching to keep secret what they had discovered in the mysterious lines of this ancient scroll had the potential to shake the very foundations of the world's major religions, and humanity had the right to know the truth no matter how challenging or disturbing. In a matter of hours, the news of this extraordinary discovery spread like wildfire, spreading through news channels, social networks, and conversations around the world. What began as a diffuse rumor soon became a media storm, of epic proportions, capturing the attention of the entire world, from the bustling streets of the big cities to the most remote villages. People gathered around televisions and mobile devices, eager for any information about this mysterious discovery that threatened to shake the foundations of their most profound beliefs. Deeply entrenched in the corridors of power, religious leaders of all faiths gathered in emergency meetings, feverishly debating the meaning and implications of this ancient text. While some advocated caution and moderation, others expressed deep concern about the impact this finding equally palpable. Renowned scholars and historians were quick to analyze and debate every scrap of information available, offering divergent interpretations and theorizing about the possible ramifications of this unprecedented revelation. Even governments around the world were forced to get involved by convening crisis cabinets on how to handle the potential social and political impact of this seismic discovery. As the days passed, speculation and anticipation reached feverish levels. With each new leak or theory was dissected and analyzed to the smallest detail, fueling a global frenzy of ace and passionate debate. It was evident that the world would never be the same. This ancient scroll, discovered almost by chance in the depths of the desert, had opened a Pandora's box of existential questions and challenges to humanity's most fundamental beliefs. And as anticipation grew, everyone awaited in awe the revelations this manuscript might contain, as the translation team toiled forward in their task of deciphering the ancient language from the parchment fragments. Its contents began to leak, sending shockwaves through the world. Rumors and speculation circulated like an unstoppable torrent on social networks and the media, fueling the global frenzy that surrounded this unprecedented discovery. According to these leaks, the manuscript seemed to narrate a radically different version of the life and teachings of some of the most revered and influential figures in the Abrahamic religion's traditional accounts of patriarchs like Abraham, leaders like Moses, and prophets like Jesus and Muhammad seemed challenged by this ancient text, the supposed revelations of the scroll. They suggested that many of the central events and teachings of these religions could have been distorted or reinterpreted over the centuries, deviating from their original meaning. Details about the miracles, divine revelations, and crucial moments in the sacred history seemed to differ drastically from the accounts. Canonicals. Each new leak was like an electric shock that shook the foundations of the established faith. Images of supposed passages from the scroll went viral online, sparking heated debates and deepening divisions between believers and skeptics. While some faithful clung desperately to traditional narratives, rejecting any challenge to their beliefs, others embraced these new revelations as a long-hidden truth, finally exposed to the light of day. In the midst of this storm of controversy, the translation team worked tirelessly, aware that the entire world eagerly awaited each new piece of the puzzle. To unravel, the pressure was immense, as they knew their findings had the very foundations of the world's major religions. As more fragments of the ancient scroll were deciphered, it became clear that its contents not only told versions alternatives of key events and figures, but also seemed to question some of the fundamental beliefs that constitute the very core of the Abrahamic religions. According to preliminary interpretations, the text seemed to cast doubt on the divine nature of certain prophets and venerated, suggesting that their status as messengers of God may have been exaggerated or misinterpreted over the centuries. Entire passages seemed to contradict accepted narratives about the divine revelations and miracles attributed to these sacred figures. But the deepest and most disturbing challenge the scroll posed was its apparent questioning of authenticity of the sacred texts on which Judaism, Christianity, and Islam are based. According to scholars, the manuscript seemed to suggest that these sacred writings had been altered, distorted, or even fabricated over time, deviating from their original origins and teachings. Although the specific details, still few and fragmentary, these supposed revelations were enough to ignite a fierce debate around the world. Religious leaders strongly condemned the scroll as a heretical forgery and a direct attack on the faith, while others celebrated it as proof that fundamental truths had been found. been hidden for too long in the streets, in the media and online, heated arguments and verbal clashes broke out between believers and skeptics, some faithful steadfastly refusing to accept any challenge to their most sacred beliefs, while others enthusiastically embraced the prospect of a new era of spiritual enlightenment. As the controversy intensified, it became clear that the world was on the brink of a momentous turning point. This ancient scroll not only threatened to rewrite the history of the Abrahamic religions, but also tested faith itself of millions of people around the planet. As global controversy intensified and divisions deepened, the translation team worked tirelessly, almost tirelessly, to completely decipher the contents of the ancient scroll. They were aware that the entire world was impatiently awaiting their findings, and the pressure on their shoulders was overwhelming in an effort to maintain a calm work environment free of distractions. The team had barricaded themselves in a highly secure and isolated research complex, yet outside its gates, a veritable field city had emerged. By dozens of news trucks, tents and transmission equipment from all over the world, reporters and cameramen from the main media outlets camped day and night, eager for any new clue or leak that could emerge from the complex. Any movement, no matter how minimal, was scrutinized and analyzed. Searching for clues about the secrets the scroll could reveal, the tension in the air was almost palpable, with journalists competing fiercely to get the scoop that could shake the world. Rumors and speculations circulated uncontrollably, fueled by the constant stream of contradictory information flowing from anonymous sources and alleged experts within the complex. The translation team worked in an almost monastic hermeticism, oblivious to the frenzy unfolding outside its doors. Each member was completely immersed in the challenge of deciphering the intricate hieroglyphics and symbols of the parchment, using all the tools and resources at their disposal as they advanced. They faced seemingly insurmountable dead ends and obstacles, only to overcome them with a mixture of ingenuity and relentless perseverance. Each new advance, each new revelation was celebrated with a contained enthusiasm, knowing that the world eagerly awaited their final findings. In the midst of the whirlwind of speculation, controversy, and feverish anticipation that had gripped the world, voices of authority and leadership urged calm and prudence. Religious leaders of all faiths and denominations issued solemn statements, warning of the potentially grave consequences that such a revelation would bring. Magnitude it could have from the Vatican. The Pope's voice resounded with a call for unity and unbreakable faith in the midst of this trial, urging the Catholic faithful to remain firm in their beliefs and not be shaken by what he described as unfounded rumors and speculation. Dangerous from the ancient mosques of Mecca and Medina, prominent Islamic leaders strongly condemned any attempt to undermine. The fundamental pillars of Islam warned that any challenge to the authenticity of the Quran or the veneration of the Prophet would be considered an intolerable blasphemy beyond the religious leaders' voices. Secularists also expressed concern about the impact this discovery could have on global stability. Political analysts and national security experts warned that a revelation of such magnitude could spark unprecedented conflicts and tensions between and within nations, some fearing that religious divisions would occur. Could become broader social fractures fueling extremism and intolerance. Others add about the potential for sectarian violence and clashes between radical groups that could see this discovery as an existential threat. Despite calls for calm, the global atmosphere became increasingly charged. With more apprehension and fear of the unknown, it was evident that the world was on the brink of a precipice, and many wondered whether the imminent revelation of the scroll's full contents would be a catalyst for an unprecedented spiritual renaissance or the beginning of a period of conflict and division on a scale never before seen. Others, however, celebrated the potential of this discovery to shed new light on the origins of the beliefs that have shaped human civilization for millennia. Scholars and thinkers around the world passionately debated the implications of this ancient text as the day of complete revelation approached. The tension in Jerusalem was almost unbearable. The holy city, already loaded with history and religious meaning, was preparing for an event that could shake the very foundations of the world's main religions. Finally, after months of tireless work, the translation team called a historic press conference. Representatives of all the world's major religions and media gathered in feverish anticipation. When the leader of the translation team stood in front of the podium, a reverential silence fell over the crowd. With a trembling voice, he began to read key passages from the ancient scroll, revealing truths that challenged humanity's most deeply held beliefs. As the words of the ancient text echoed through the room, A wave of shock swept through the audience. Some covered their mouths in horror, while others shook their heads in utter disbelief. When it was finished, the silence was broken by an avalanche of questions and heated debates. Religious leaders condemned the scroll as a forgery and a heresy, while others embraced it as a truth long hidden in the weeks. And in the following months, the entire world was plunged into a whirlwind of unprecedented controversy. The revelations of the Old Jerusalem scroll called into question the very foundations of the world's most popular religions, sowing doubts everywhere while some people desperately clung to their beliefs. Other beliefs embraced the new truths revealed by the text. Violent clashes occurred in some parts of the world, while peaceful but passionate debates took place in other places. As the dust settled, it became clear that the world would never be the same again. The discovery of the Jerusalem scroll had opened a Pandora's box of existential questions and challenges to humanity's most fundamental beliefs. Some saw this event as a catalyst for a spiritual renaissance and greater understanding between religions. Others saw it as the beginning of an era of unprecedented uncertainty and conflict. One thing was certain: the world would never forget the day when an ancient scroll buried beneath the Jerusalem desert shook the very foundations of human faith, forcing humanity to re-examine its most deeply held beliefs.